Good.
Thank you. Hey, you guys, welcome to Tuesday, June the 11th at 6:02 Central Standard Time. Excuse the dogs in the background. Anybody that's walking by, they just feel like they need to protect me. So thank you guys for coming this fun week. I do have a couple shout outs. I want to raise an applause to Linda and David. As of yesterday, they have donated 99 volunteer hours to Envision Dallas over the last month and a half for helping their staff and their workers get acclimated to their new building. That is phenomenal, a lot of time invested. So thank you so much, David and Linda, for supporting Envision Dallas and getting those folks acclimated to the new building.
It's a joy to be over there, and I was trying to make cookies for them to bake tomorrow, but I don't know if I'm going to get them done tonight or not, or it'll be midnight. So anyway, but
you both have been incredible. Thank you very much, Linda and David.
Thank you. And we were there today. We'll be there Friday. So they're supposed to be into their cafeteria tomorrow.
Perfect. I did get notification that we have been approved for the District 5810 grant up to $1,500 this year. What that means is we donate $1,500 to different charitable causes that we support, and then the district will match us 50-50. Now we do have to spend the full amount and then seek reimbursement. So the board did meet offline yesterday. We approved a grant for total investment to support our TB initiative on the border, which we have been doing since 2008. That's going to be for $1,000. We've also submitted a grant in, or will submit a grant in, to support Envision Dallas with their Early Childhood Development Center for $1,000. And then we have Shirley Weddle with the Suicide E-Prevention Club. We're going to try to sponsor one of their live in-person training sessions for a total investment of $500. And then the other $500 will go to the District 5810 is doing a service cruise in January, and we're going to apply to purchase school supplies, shoes, backpacks to take down there. We get to take 7 pallets of 220 boxes down to Costa Maya. So that is what we're going to spend for our initial grant. After everybody submits all their grant money, in 3 months afterwards, so it'll probably be November, we can apply for additional grant, and that amount is a lot smaller. But I'll keep you guys posted on that. But that's huge. What our club is going to be able to do this year, and supporting those causes that we appreciate value when they do. So sorry, the dogs are playing, and I've got rice on the cooktop. This is a lot of fun in the McAnally household. All right, Mr. David, can you lead us in our pledge, please? Thank you. You guys were on mute, so sorry about that. Miss Linda, can you unmute yourself and lead us in our opening prayer, please? There we go. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. As we gather here this evening as members of Rotary, we pray that we are ever mindful of opportunities, our services to fellow citizens and to our community. Keep always in mind the enduring values of exerting our efforts to those areas and on those things upon which future generations can build with confidence and strive to create hope in the world. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Any other club announcements before we pass it on to our speaker today?
I'm going to be sending out invoices for dues this week, probably by the end of the week. So get your money in, so we'll have money for the grants.
Perfect. Yes, we do have. We bill each person $250 a year. 125 of that goes directly to district and international dues. 25 of that goes to Zoom, Club Runner, our website, things like that, and then we can use $100 per person to fund our projects. So we have a very small, tight budget, but definitely do get that in. All right, Mr. Howard, I'm going to put myself on mute if you don't mind introducing our speaker today.
Our speaker's name is James Clemens. He's a Marine veteran, owns Freedom from Anger LLC, a behavioral health education company providing online courses. He spent the past 10 years working for the Nashville Sheriff Department, educating the incarcerated population on ways to improve their lives, domestic violence, alcohol and drugs, and anger management. So if you could please mute yourself so we won't have noise while he's speaking. Somebody's screen is sideways.
That's me.
Okay. James, you can use PowerPoint if you want to. There's a button on the bottom where you can share your screen, or you don't have to. We usually speakers go for about 20 to 30 minutes, so feel free to use that time as you see fit, and we can ask questions at the end, but we mute ourselves while you're talking so you don't get a lot of background noise.
Oh, sounds good. Thank you so much for having me. 20, 30 minutes, it's not a lot. I'm used to speaking for hours on end, but thank you so much. Hopefully I can pass on some information that that you can use. Like I said, there's a million different ways I could go about covering the topic of self-improvement. I know it's something that we all strive for. I think a little bit about my background, working with individuals who are constantly trying to work on themselves. Hopefully, people who are incarcerated, also work with people, outside the jail system. And I always look back to the Stoic philosophers. A lot of their teachings, it's the basis of, REBT, rational emotive behavioral therapy, cognitive behavioral therapy. It all stems back from the Stoic philosophers from long ago. So I'm a big fan of quotes, and I like to use a lot of quotes when I teach. So first quote I want to throw out there is, if you want to improve, be content to be thought of as foolish and stupid. That was Epictetus in AD 50. And basically what he's trying to say there is, if we're trying to improve ourselves, a lot of times we don't do that for fear of what the other person's going to say, what the other person's going to do, and we live in that fear of not improving ourselves. But when we can branch away from the opinions of others, then we definitely grow. And a thing with that I'm sure that the Rotary Club can really relate to is the Stoic philosophy teachings is they believe that we are all interconnected and that we cannot help ourselves without helping our fellow man. And I think y'all do a great job of getting out there in the community and helping out others. So in order for us to improve ourselves, we have to help others. There's two ways about it. Another quote from Epictetus: "Progress is not achieved by luck or accident, but by working on yourself daily." And that could be, anything. I'm a firm believer in, small changes, garner great results. It could be, the individual wrote a book years ago about just making your bed, getting your day started off in the right direction. Making little changes in our lives can help us with that self-improvement. But also what they taught us was that the power basically in our lives, comes from our thoughts. Like, what are our thoughts about different things? And if we don't change our thought patterns, if we don't try to challenge our belief systems, the things that we've been taught over the years, we're always going to get the same result over and over again. And if we're trying to improve our situation, improve ourselves, and we keep getting the same negative consequence, then there's some kind of disconnect there. And what they believe is, if you look at the more modern Dr. Ellis, Rational Emotive Behavioral Therapy, he has you look at, well, is my thinking rational or is it irrational? And an example would be, is it rational to think that I can go through life and never be mad? Is it rational to think that today I'm gonna go through today and not get upset at somebody? No, that's not a rational thought. The irrational thought would be, well, I must go through life and never be upset, or I should never be upset. And he calls those must, should, always, nevers. He calls those absolutes. And the power of the words that we tell ourselves, that negative self-talk and that positive self-talk, is huge. So if I catch myself thinking, well, they should do this, they should do that, or they must do this, they must do that, they never do this, they never do that. See, that's all that concrete thinking, that irrational thinking. And if you replace those words with, it would be nice if so-and-so did this, or I would prefer if this happened. But see, that's not as concrete. And I'm sorry, I'm rambling on kind of fast, but yeah, it's a negative thought patterns we get ourselves caught in. Shoulds, the must, what if, and then it stunts us from moving forward to that self-improvement. Because if I'm constantly worried about this person, what they're doing, and being angry and being upset, and there's a reason why the majority of the work that I do focuses on anger, because that's the strongest emotion that we have, pretty much. And if we're living in that anger, then we're definitely not going to move forward with our lives. And a lot of that anger it leads to abuse, alcohol and drug abuse, physical abuse to our partners. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. So I really, when I'm working with my clients, is really try to tackle that anger. Like, where's it coming from? How can we find the more positive ways to go about this? And then we really tackle those. What are your negative beliefs? What are some beliefs that you might need to change, you need to challenge? And that's really, really hard for us to do, because we've carried around these beliefs our whole lives. They were taught to us from, it could be mother, parents, TV, you name it. We picked it up somewhere along the way. And for somebody to go, well, that belief might not be good because you keep getting this negative consequence, this negative outcome, well, it kind of catches people off guard, because I've believed this my entire life. And I've never challenged it, even though I keep getting these negative consequences. And you definitely run into that with the incarcerated individuals that I've worked with over the years. Keep coming back to jail for the same thing over and over and over. But they never challenge their thought process. They never challenge their belief. Well, if somebody does this, I must do this. No, you don't. You always have a choice. You have a choice to, stab somebody. You have a choice to walk away. Everybody has that choice. But if I keep doing having those negative beliefs, I'm always with those negative consequences. Same with those irrational beliefs. I'm going to have those negative consequences. So it's really, really focusing on our thought patterns and how we go through life. And if I'm trying to improve myself, I can go out there and I can do good deeds. I can help out people. But if I'm not, working on me, then it's kind of hard for me to help out others. But that's part of the deal. You still got to be connected to other people. And I know I kind of rambled and kind of said a lot there. So, any questions so far? Because I'm definitely open. I could talk for days. I don't want to move too fast, confuse too many people. But
do you do a lot of marriage therapy as well, or more individual rehab?
I do individuals. If they're, if I'm working with an individual and it turns out that they might need that, yeah, I will help them find somebody that specializes in anger marriage family therapy. But me personally, I prefer doing one-on-ones because I don't know about you, but marriage counseling does not. I get a little bit interesting, to say the least. So one-on-one is what I prefer.
I'm asking, my sister is going through marriage counseling now, and they're doing cognitive behavior?
Cognitive behavioral therapy.
Yeah, out of the 12 different behavior traits, which one is each one? And so I just thought it was kind of interesting.
Yeah, and like I said, this Stoic philosophy, that's where CBT stems from. And when you look back at it, it's all cognitive behavioral therapy. All it is learning to challenge your thoughts, change your thoughts, look at things differently. And that's basically the gist of it. And like I said, they were talking about this, in the BC times, these Greek and Roman philosophers. And that's where, Dr. Albert Ellis developed REBT in the 50s, and then that transformed, then that turned into CBTs, which we use today, and then that transformed to DBT, but it all stems from these ancient teachings. And but yeah, a lot of the negative thinking patterns could be overgeneralizing. Like I said, like a lot of the you always do this, you never do this, because when you come at somebody like that, they're going to get defensive, and when the defense goes up, communication stops, and then you get angry because you're not communicating, and then things kind of escalate. So we really focus on the words that we use, not only to other people, but the words that we use to ourselves, because we are our own worst critic. And,
Yep.
And one of the main three things that I really want people to work on is, I ask them, do you love yourself? And most people are like, yeah, no, mostly no. And then I want them to work on learning to forgive themselves, and then definitely learn to forgive others, because we do carry around a lot of baggage from our past. And being allowed to forgive ourselves, and to realize, hey, we're human, we make mistakes, we try something and fail, or forgiving others, somebody did something to us, and we carry that stuff around. And the bad thing about that is, if I'm getting upset today over something that happened 20 years ago, then it's not happening 20 years ago, it's happening today. And I'm still carrying around all of that anger and that guilt and that frustration. And odds are, whoever did me wrong, they're sleeping just fine. They're sleeping just fine.
Yeah.
But I'm still carrying this around. But it's,
So I'm on your website, and I see that you really do focus a lot more on anger management and alcohol and drugs, road rage. I thought that was really interesting in here. What about, like, if it starts with anger management, but you just don't know how to express? My son has a hard time where he really kind of becomes more suicidal. Not that he really wants to hurt himself, but he just feels like, I'm so angry, nothing goes right in this moment. Is that something that you would have expertise in?
yeah, I've worked with, you name it, I've probably worked with individual similar to that. But typically,
Yours is more required by probation.
no, not really. A lot of the people I get are, they're unfortunately, self-improvement. A lot of people are not looking for it. If they're forced to to take a class, then yeah, they'll holler at me. But I really love working for the people that seek me out. Like, hey,
Yeah.
I know I got anger issues. I know I need to work on this. Or hey, my marriage is suffering a little bit. Hey, can I learn some skills? And what we do is definitely the education portion of it. And if it figures out that it needs to go more into like more in-depth therapy, counseling, stuff like that, then I'm more than happy to assist them with finding somebody. But for a lot of people, especially men, and I work with a lot of veterans, you tell them to go see a psychiatrist, they're not going to do it. But they'll see me because they don't view me as a psychiatrist. They view me as a veteran. I'm teaching an education class. Okay, all right. Now, do we get into some therapeutic stuff? Yeah, we do. But I feel that for a lot of people, especially veterans, it kind of lets that guard down. Like, hey, I'm not a shrink. I'm not here to, put you on any kind of medication. We're just here to talk. We're here to try to figure out, okay, where's this anger come from? What negative consequences are you having from your anger? Where you want to go from here? What kind of positive outcomes do you want to have? And I'm a firm believer that education is huge. Education goes a long way. But yeah, I've definitely, a lot of people, it's that, like I said, it goes back to that negative thinking. If I'm viewing the world as, everything must go my way, everything must be the way I want it to be, and if it's not, then, the world's useless, and I just can't stand it. But all that can be changed with, reframing our thought patterns. Okay, well, instead of using this word, okay, let's replace it with this word. Now what does this sentence say to you? It's like, oh, okay, well, I'm not always going to get my way. I'm not always going to, have, sunshine and rainbows. There's good times, there's bad times. But if I have that irrational view of the world where everything must go my way, everything must be sunshine and rainbows 24/7, we all know that's not true. We've all lived long enough, we know it's not true. But with the younger generations, it's a little bit more, hey, this ain't the way it's supposed to be. I was told this, but now life kind of gets in the way. But yeah, it's really work with people and trying to get them to really think about those thought patterns. Okay, am I overgeneralizing? Am I shifting the blame? Am I obsessing over the shoulds and should nots? Am I what am I really in control of? And what really boils down to is I'm in control of me. I'm not in control of anybody else on the planet but me. And then when we get shifted to that blame, well, they're not acting correctly because that's not the way I act, so they're wrong, so I must punish them, I must correct them, I must do this, I must do that. But it's really trying to focus on what's their view on the world, where are these thoughts coming from, where does it stem from? And then when you start digging, you'll find that a lot of it stems from the household, a lot of it stems from their environment growing up. Like I said, it comes from somewhere. And really focus on that self-improvement, you really got to focus on, okay, where did I learn this? Okay, why did I learn this? Why did I deem that this is okay? I'm getting all these negative consequences, then, okay, well, let's change something. Let's try to get a positive consequence when an issue like this happens again. Learn from our past mistakes rather than just ignore and just keep trying to plow forward in life and just never learn from our past mistakes. Got another quote that I like. It's from Seneca. He was a philosopher in Rome around 4 BC, a long time ago. It says, "Life is like a play. It's not the length, but the excellence of the acting that matters." And I like that because you might live to be 100 years old, but if you've done nothing to help out your fellow man, you've done nothing to improve the world, then what's those 100 years been worth versus somebody that's, tried to improve themselves, tried to improve their community, tried to improve the people around them, raise a good family, and maybe they only live 50 years. So kind of balance those things. It's kind of like, if I had all this money, then I'd be happy and I'd do this and I'd do that, but will you really? self-improvement, that self-love, that feeling of accomplishment. You know, it really connects with helping others, along with helping yourself along the way. Because if I want to improve myself, I need to help other people. I need to try to improve my environment. Whether that be the people I surround myself with, or just my community as a whole. And there's many different ways to go about that. And another question that I like to ask people I work with, just a simple question, you know, are you happy? You know, you got to get all psychological and make it complicated. Just, are you happy? Okay, if you're not, okay, let's work on this. You know, I don't see why people like to make things more complicated than it has to be. You know, life's not that complicated. But yeah, if you're not happy, then okay, let's try to figure out ways to fix this. Let's try to work on it now. Okay, what can I do today that will get me to that goal? And that's another thing with self-improvement. You know, having those goals, having those things that we're striving for. You know, there's a quote that says, "Man is a goal-seeking animal. His life only has meaning if he's reaching out and striving for his goal." And that's Aristotle, way back in the day. And it still rings true today. You know, if we don't have that carrot dangling on the line there, then we're probably not going to move forward. We're just going to be kind of stuck. And that stagnation happens to a lot of us. We get that negative self-talk, and we get down on ourselves, or we're looking at the world as a whole, and we think, oh, it's a mess, and then we just we make ourselves depressed, rather than looking at the flip side, trying to find that silver lining, and really challenging that thought process. Okay, why am I thinking this way? What are some things I can do to change this thought process? There's another good quote from his name escapes me, but simple quote says, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. And I'm a firm believer in that. Like I said, I can choose to have a good day at 5 in the morning. I can choose to have a bad day at 5 in the morning. You know, that's up to me. I can wake up in the morning and stump my big toe on the dresser and think, oh, well, day started off awful. The whole day is going to be awful. And guess what? It's probably going to be awful, because I've already set myself up for that. Rather than I stump my toe and go, oh, well, maybe I need to move this so I don't do that next time. Hey, bad stuff happens. Okay, let's have a good day. You know, all that's definitely in our power. And probably the last thing I want to touch on is blaming. It's a whole lot easier to blame somebody else for our shortcomings than ourselves. That's easy. This happened to me because of so-and-so, or I'm in this situation because of so-and-so. Well, they might have contributed to it, but the vast majority of the choices, those are ours. Because, like I said earlier, we only have control over ourselves. And shifting that blame to somebody else, it might feel good in the short term, but long term, like I said, we're going to be stagnant. We're not going to move forward. So a lot of times we got to just, as they say, take our medicine and go, okay, well, I really messed it up there, and now it's time to learn from it and try to make sure this never happens again, and try to move forward. And that's that's the big thing with forgiveness. Forgiveness is not saying what somebody did to you is okay. It's just saying that, okay, I'm going to learn from this, and I'm not going to lend that person money next time because they didn't pay me back. Rather than, I'm going to totally disconnect from this person my entire life because they didn't pay me back those $20. No, I just go, okay, all right, I forgive you, okay, moving forward, I'm not going to lend you money, hey, we're still friends, and move on with your life. And my advice to everybody is, don't lend any money you cannot afford to lose. Especially to family members. I've learned that the hard way. It's okay to be, generous or whatever, but if you can't afford to lose it, don't lend it. If you get it back, it's a blessing. All right. Yeah. I'm not sure where I'm at on time, but I know I rambled off a lot of stuff. Like I said, I'm used to speaking for hours on end, so I'm trying to cram a lot into a little window. But yeah, any questions for me? I mean, I'm sure what I said is clear as mud, but I'll try my best to clear things up for you.
I was wondering, because I do hypnotherapy and I also do NLP. I have a lot of certifications. So I was wondering, so you're working in the prison system mostly, you said, with people on probation. Was that government contracts that you had gotten, or? Because I'm still trying to figure out how to get those, because there's certain codes I have to use in order to, they use hypnosis. I know that. That's how before all this medication came out, back in World War II, I know that's what they used to treat soldiers with, was using hypnosis and tapping, all of the modalities that I use. So I was wondering, how did you get that? Because that's where I'm like, I want to go, because I know that there's more money there. That's what I've been told, but the government's also one of those, you got to wait for a while before you get money.
Yeah, I mean, I'm actually working directly for the sheriff's department. So
Oh, you are?
Okay. Yeah, but I also work on the outside doing my thing. I mean, I would love one day to just see you later, then get the contract and go back in, because I'm sure I'd make more money. But yeah, as far as how people get those contracts, I wish I knew. I'd probably get a little bit more work on the side, but the majority of my time is working inside the jail.
Inside of it, okay. Because I just was curious if they've ever, like, where you're at, if they've ever used, like, the hypnotherapy and, like, the NLP and all of that. Because I know, like, some of those things, those are instant change, like, with what I do. Because I know exactly, like, some of the things that you're talking about, like, the CBT, that's the same thing that I know how to do. But it's the evidence-based, like, we're looking for, like, what you had mentioned, but then it's using those positive evidences that you find in hypnosis. And then, like, some of those, that all or nothing thinking, I'm like, I recognize that one right away. Because I think there's 12 of them, if I remember right, for different thinking patterns. Because the one I struggle with is all or nothing. That one is tricky to break. But I'm like, I've had that one. And then that blaming, I started smiling. It wasn't you necessarily. I was thinking about my husband. Because I do that to him. Because it's just easier to blame him. I mean, it seriously is. It's easier to put the blame on him. But then it's like, no, I know that it's my fault. Like, I'm the one that, I can't control him. But I mean, like, in the meantime, I'm like, yeah, so I totally get what you're saying.
Well, like David said, it may not be your fault, but I'm gonna blame you anyway.
Yes.
That's right.
This food made me fat. Oh, no, it was my husband's cooking, because he cooks better than I do.
But yeah, I think it's referring to, I think it's Thomas Gordon's 12 Roadblocks to Communication, and that has the catastrophizing, overgeneralizing, blaming. It's got all those in there.
Yeah, I had to learn some of those for NLP, but I don't remember all of them because there's a lot.
Written out somewhere, yeah. Yeah. But no, we've never used hypnosis. I'm definitely a fan of it. I do think it does help a lot of people. But
It
still,
does.
even after all these years, it's still kind of, people are still kind of.
It's weird because they're scared of their own mind. And I agree 100% with what you had made, like, for one of your points for people don't love themselves. That's like the number one thing that I've noticed. They love themselves, but they don't really fully understand that if you really love yourself, you don't do some of the behaviors that you're doing. But I totally understand like what my teacher had said, that all behavior is positive. Like it's positive for that person. Like all of it is, and it's really weird, but it's like when you said about like the court system and like other people that I know, it really is, it's a positive behavior because it's still known to the brain, even though it's not a normal good behavior, however you want to put it. It's weird though how the brain fires and wires together, and I see it a lot in my practice, but it's like it still amazes me every single time how those different things
Yeah,
come
because
together.
if I've taught myself that every time I raise my voice, I get my way, then it's going to become automatic. Well, I want to get my way. I want to get my point across, and this has worked in the past, so I'm just going to keep doing it. So I'm going to raise my voice when somebody says something I don't like, you know, and it just gets kind of tattooed on our brain, and we do it automatically, and we don't ever challenge it. We don't ever figure out, well, why are they getting defensive? Well, you raise your voice, you know. Yeah, I mean,
It's
it's
like a
amazing.
child, that whenever
Yeah.
a child knows they can get away with something, or if they do a certain action, that's gonna bring their response that they want.
Yeah, like they know that mommy will let them have it and daddy won't.
Yeah.
Mommy will let me
It's
do
those,
this.
it's those learned behaviors.
Huh?
Those learned behaviors that gets in trouble. I say it's those learned behaviors that gets in trouble.
It
We can
definitely.
learn, but we can learn positive ones. That's what it's all about. You know, challenging those beliefs, those belief systems. Any other questions? I'm sure I'm over my time, but
I've got a comment. Are you a Marine? I'm a Navy. But I've got a test to see if you really were a Marine. I make a statement and see if you agree.
okay.
Gunny ain't happy, ain't nobody happy. Is that a true statement?
Did you say if Gunny?
If Gunny ain't happy, nobody's happy.
Oh, I would have to agree with that.
So my job, I was JG. Maybe it's your job. Try to keep Gunny happy.
Exactly. 'Cause it's
They don't know what we're talking about.
Just tell-
I was just gonna say, what's gunny?
A gunnery sergeant.
A gunnery sergeant.
They run the
boss man. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, is that the same as like a drill sergeant or something?
My drill instructors in the Navy were Marines.
Oh, I just know my grandpa was in the military, but he didn't want to mess with my grandpa. I'm still sticking with my theory that when he died right after he got done working at 87. But I still like my theory. I think that him and Jesus got into a fight. That's how it had to happen. My grandpa, he was somebody you didn't mess with. So that I just was wondering what the gunnery was. Because I was told my grandpa was one of those higher up in some branch of the military. I don't know. There's so many.
Well, I mean, it shows they worked for me, but I'm sometimes not too sure how that worked. They were great people. And they had better people.
Well, thank you so much, Mr. Clemens, for speaking to us today. I saved down your contact and we'll share it on our Facebook page. We really appreciate your time today. And if there's not anything else, we'll go ahead and close it out with the four-way test of the things we think, say, and do. First, is it the truth? Second, is it fair to all concerned? Thank you. You guys got it better than I did. Third, is it beneficial for
Goodwill and better friendship.
And fourth,
Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
fifth, will it be fun?
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you guys. Have a great Tuesday
I'd
night.
like to announce our guest tonight was Carlissa, and,
Yes.
well, see, Jack finally came in, and let's see, and then we had, I guess that was all our guests.